everybody. How's it going? Austin Prechtel, prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. How's it going? Happy Monday. Starting the week off right. Let's go. Let's jump into it. Gonna make this one quick and concise, and just tell you guys what you need to hear today. As you're tuning in, though, let me know how your day is going. Drop a comment, leave a like. Helps other people see this with the algorithm. But today we're gonna be talking about which is more important for fat loss, right? Like if you had to pick one, diet or exercise, right? Diet or exercise, which one's better? Um, Always though, like if you can, I always suggest doing both. But if you had to pick one, I'm gonna explain why. I would pick one over the other, and why. It kind of depends on your goals too, right? It depends on whether you're just going for straight up weight loss. You don't care about muscle. You don't care about that kind of stuff, or if you're more along the lines of prioritizing fat loss. But as you're tuning in, though, like I said, let me know how your day is going. Happy freaking Monday. Let's jump into this. And because of this topic, because a lot of times, like I'm sure, like you may have heard, like I only have so much time in a day, or I want to start focusing on like one thing at the beginning and work my way up. Especially if you're like new to your fitness journey or you're trying to lose weight. And you're like, I want to pick one and I want to get good at that before moving on to the next thing, right? So which should I pick? Should I choose exercise, right? Should I choose exercise? Should I choose like working out, or like cardio, or should I choose nutrition, aka like diet? Should I focus on that? And when it comes to it's all goal dependent, but if you're going for just like straight up weight loss, right? If you're going for just straight up weight loss, or fat loss, and you don't really care about retaining a lot of like muscle. You're just trying to get to a certain weight as quickly as possible. Maybe it's for like a surgery that you're trying to prepare for. Maybe it's for like pregnancy or things like that. You're trying to maintain a healthy weight, or you just got done. You're like postpartum, like whatever it may be. When it comes down to going for weight loss, if you had to focus on one thing, diet, right? Diet, nutrition. You can lose all of your weight, like you can lose all the weight that you want from diet alone. But I don't suggest that. But you can, right? Like abs are made in the kitchen. That's what people say a lot of times. And you can't outwork a bad diet, right? No matter how bad. What's up, Kristen? How's it going? I see you on Insta. But when it comes down to it, like you can't outwork a bad diet, right? Unless you're like an ultra marathon runner. Like, what's up? You're on Facebook too. How's it going? Um, and so you can't outwork a bad diet. Like you cannot, like, unless you're like Michael Phelps, like swimming like I don't even know how many fucking miles a day he swims, but unless you're swimming like 20 miles a day, and you're, or like an ultra marathon runner and you're running like 10, 15, 20. I don't even know what's defined as an ultra marathon runner, if I'm being fucking honest, because I don't like running that much. But if you're somebody who just is running miles upon miles upon miles a day, like, okay, maybe you can, but most people aren't. Like 99.9% of the people out there that are watching this right now who just want to get in shape, or who just want to lose weight, or who just want to feel more confident, feel like they look better, feel better, that kind of thing, for their own aesthetic and preference, like diet is going to be the way to go, right? Strength training or exercise, it depends on what kind of exercise you're doing, right? Exercise can mean a lot of things. It could be, running or cardio or swimming. It could be strength training. It could be whatever it may be. And strength training, as freaking awesome as it is, and as much as I love it, it's not. It doesn't burn that many calories. Like you burn some, but you don't burn a whole lot like people think. Especially if you're not like really just going all out, going crazy. It doesn't burn a lot of calories. It really doesn't. Cardio can burn some calories, but nobody wants to spend an hour a day on the treadmill to make up for something that you ate, that only took like 5 minutes to eat, right? And so, you think about it that way too, like your time management. Like if you had to focus on one thing, diet, right? You can control your diet, on a day to day, probably more so than you can control and set aside time for, working out. So if you had to pick one, diet. But when it comes to fat loss, though, prioritize, like if you had to prioritize it, diet. But like if you can, both. Do both. Strength train, right? Strength train. Also, make sure your nutrition's on point. Why do I say that? Let's see. Chris says I'm definitely not a runner. I'm just all over the place today. I'm up to malt walker status. Nice. Yes, but guys, when it comes down to it, like like you're like you want to make sure that you're doing both. You don't have to go to the gym 5 or 6 times a week to get like results from it. You can go 2 or 3 times a week if you're just starting out. If that's your all you could fit in your schedule. But you should do both because weight loss, just like straight up weight loss versus fat loss, there's a difference. Like if you're just like trying to lose weight and you don't really care, or you're not like eating how you should be eating, or you're not like strength training to like give your body a reason to hold on to the muscle, like you're gonna lose a lot of muscle on top of fat. You're gonna lose fat, but you're also gonna lose a lot of muscle in the process if you're just like woo, like just like dropping your calories like crazy, and you're like doing that sort of thing. Like you're gonna lose a lot of muscle in the process, and you don't want that. You're gonna feel like crap. You might not be happy with how you look when you get to the end goal. You're gonna like you want to keep as much muscle as possible because that's also gonna help your metabolism long term. You know, like the more lean body mass that you have, the more like the higher your metabolism is going to be. Not super significantly, but like I can definitely eat a lot more food than somebody else at my like height, age, and weight, because my body composition's more on the lean body mass side than theirs might be, and so it definitely helps, and it's a benefit, and you feel better, you like feeling strong, it helps with confidence, like all those things are like great. That's why I think strength training in tandem with nutrition is the way to go, because you're going to give your body a reason to hold on to the muscle while you lose weight through strength training. And if you get enough protein in, if you get an adequate protein, your body's gonna feel good. You're also gonna That's another way to help maintain muscle mass when you lose weight. But like if you had to pick one, diet, just because like you can control like that is the fastest way to lose weight versus exercise. Exercise, like you can only do so much in a day without burning yourself out and feeling exhausted and tired, right? So like think about it that way. Like if you have to pick one, focus on diet slash nutrition. But if you can do both because it's gonna pay off like big time in the long run. But like nutrition wise, like just make sure that you're like eating as much food as possible while losing weight in a sustainable range, long term. Go for that. When it stops working, drop your calories, but don't do it too much. Like there's a lot of like nuances, like little things here and there that you got to be careful of whenever you're doing it. But like you can control your calories like on a daily basis. More consistently than if you had to pick one, pick nutrition. But like I'm always a big advocate for both because you're gonna get the best results that way. You're gonna feel better. You're gonna like the way like you feel, more confidence, feeling stronger, all that good shit that like that are benefits. Like it's great for your health too. Like strength training is great for your health. For like like bone density, like blood pressure, like there's a lot of it's a stress reliever. So if you had to come down to it, if you had to pick between the two, yeah, diet, but do both if you can. Do both if you can. Because at the end of the day, you can't outwork a bad diet. You just can't. Like I said, unless you're like Michael Phelps or like a marathon, like an ultra marathon runner, like that's not gonna happen. We can eat a lot more in a small period of time than we can in terms of like spending like hour. Like nobody wants to spend an hour on the treadmill a day. It's not good for you anyways. Like if your goal is to maintain muscle, if your goal is to have a like not super stressed out body, and like super pressed schedule, like obviously if you're prepping for a show or something like that and you're like coming in on like the last like couple of weeks or like a month of like your prep or something, like yeah, you might have to like put in some freaking crazy work on the treadmill to keep things like tight and maintained. But for your normal person, like you should not be doing that much cardio on a daily basis unless you like truly just enjoy it and you're like training for like, or you're a runner or something like that. But if you're just going for fat loss or weight loss, like nope, nutrition all the way. But like I said, if you can do both, do both. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. Just a quick little live on which one I think is the most like bang for your buck, essentially. Like if you had to pick one, but yeah, that's just my opinion. But I mean, I feel like most people would probably agree. So, other than that, have a good rest of your day. I hope that you got value from this. Let me know your number one takeaway from this live in the comments down below. And yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Feel free to give this a share. Or comment or tag somebody who you feel like could benefit from this if they're starting to get into a fitness journey, if they feel like they don't really know what they're doing or they're trying to pick one or the other. Be like, here, have this, broken down, pretty fairly concise video about it. So yeah, other than that, happy Monday. Let's freaking crush our week. Let's take it on. Like I said, new week, new opportunities. Like every day is an opportunity to like make a change, right? and start working on something a little bit different than you might have been working on in the past. So, yeah, let's go. I'll talk to you all later. Have a good one, and peace.